Yeah. Hi everyone. Welcome to our course of personal finance. As you know, this is a third module where we will be discussing how it is important for us to get well versed with personal finance. Personal finance should be important for individuals of all the ages, starting from 20s, 30s, or 40s. We are at different stages of our life when we enter into the cornerstone of financial planning. So, as in the first and second module, you must have seen, we discussed about what is financial planning. Isn't that the same thing as how to invest? Life cycle of financial planning and stepwise approach to financial planning. What are different types of money personalities? Today, we will be focusing more on biases which we have generated in ourselves from childhood and various environment settings where we are born in. So, these kind of these influence our decision making on financial investment. So we will discuss on what are the different types of biases we face and how we can avoid them, how to manage finances with your partner, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your shareholding partner, or mother, father, or any relationship, in a sense, like with whom you're dealing with your finances. How you can overcome the loss aversion biases, like what is loss aversion, why you avoid the risk all the time, what is your money personality type. So these all basic things about financial planning and basic personal finance we will be discussing. So going ahead, so there are a lot of money personalities that we have seen. As we discussed, the human psychology itself plays a significant role in our relationship with money. How is that? Until we understand that why behind our actions, then it's impossible to change our mindset and behavior. Our family and our early money experiences impact our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions around money even today. It's not about shaming or judging our actions, but it's about understanding them better. Why we are doing this exercise, or why we are stressing so much on the psychology and the human behavior surrounding the decision making of money, is because it plays a significant role in every aspect of your life. When you're dealing with making money decisions, whether you want to buy a car, whether you want to make an investment, small investment or a long term investment, whether you want to buy a home, or even small travel expenses. So all these money experiences while growing up, when we what thoughts and feelings we generated, what beliefs we made, and because of that what actions we take about money even today. So definitely you might feel that, yeah, we have a money avoidant kind of personality, we avoid money. Some people are very money vigilant. So there are different kinds of money personalities. It's not about shaming or judging anyone. Everyone can have different types of money personalities. We will look into them, and we will also try to understand the biases or the flaws or the difference in the mindset that we have inculcated in ourselves because of certain biases, unconscious, subconscious biases, and that is what is affecting our money making decisions, and give clarity as to why we make poor money decisions. Our early money experiences shape our financial psychology and our money personality, and is influenced by your parents and others during your formative years. As we discussed, definitely the parents and the surroundings often play an important role in influencing our money making decisions. We have money avoidance. Some people think like, rich people are greedy, they're always behind money. That kind of mindset they have, they want to avoid money. They think money is a sin, money should be avoided, and perhaps that's the virtue in having less money. They think that they have not followed that path of greediness, and they're okay with having less money, and they don't want to suffer, and they always suffer from financial anxiety unknowingly and subconsciously. So these are the some of the personalities, like money avoidance, people avoid money. So as we have discussed these personalities also in the module 2, you can refer to module 2 in our YouTube channel and refer that. Before that, we will also discuss on working with your partner on finances. So what is that? As I told, one of the biggest sources of conflict in a relationship these days is money. It within your partner, whether you're married or you're single, have a business partner, or even share financial responsibility with anyone else in your life, there is always room for improvement when it comes to how you manage your finances together. So it can, these kind of, nowadays we have seen the major, one of the biggest sources of conflict nowadays is money. So it's very, very important that we take care of our finances and we take vigilant decisions based on money, and we take a financial, personal finance responsibly, and that can impact every aspect of your life. So we have to, what we have to do while we manage our finances with our partner, we have to identify and leverage our strengths as a team. Supposing we were discussing in the modules the money personalities, like money can be, there can be a person who is a money avoidant, whereas another person can be a money status personality or a money vigilant personality. So there can be different personalities altogether. So identify basically first and foremost what are your personalities and take it as a strength, like which person has a skill set which identifies with making an investment, supposing, and then get to the root of what's truly important as you improve your relationship and communication around money management. So definitely we need to identify and leverage our strength. And the first step, as I mentioned, is to know yourself. If you haven't had the time to know your money personality, I recommend that you and your partner to know your money personalities. Reflect on those behaviors. Why do you behave the way that you do, that are tied to your personality, and then share what you discovered with each other. This is very important. You need to know very well why you behave, what is the kind of behavior you have around money, identify what is your money personality, and then take go to the root cause of considering 5 why techniques. That why are you making this decision? If you're avoiding that kind of certain investment, then why are you avoiding that? What is the root cause of that in making that decision? So that 5 why techniques, ask yourself that why are you thinking in that direction, or what is your mindset about that, why is that? So getting to the root cause is very, very important. And then share among each other, be your partner, that yes, I have this money personality type, and let's share our goals and values and decide accordingly. So this is the first step. The next step is to share how money was handled in your household growing up. So everybody is born and brought up in a different environment. So we have to share our thoughts, like while growing up in our household, how money has influenced your feelings and your desires about how you manage your money. So every personality you will meet, you encounter in your life, you must have seen that they are coming from a certain mindset and a background where they have first faced certain challenges in life. That's why they have developed that kind of behavior towards money. Maybe even you can see these the things which I'm telling you, you can even see these things in your near and dear ones, where you can see like where, why they are behaving the way they are doing, because they are coming from that kind of money personality. So definitely you can identify and leverage your strength and work on your weaknesses to move towards a better financial improvement. Maybe you are more money vigilant, you want to, calculate before spending the money, and your partner is money avoidant. So both of you agree that you value family and security, so that you can come to a even point, and you can have goals. Supposing you want to pay your debts and save for retirement, and you can navigate each of money personalities by allowing your values and goals to guide you through that decision making. Then try to identify each of strengths to see how each of you can play a role in managing your finances together. So that is how you can proceed. Like you have to identify if each person can be different, they can have different money personalities, and without hurting the other person's emotions, you have to identify, yes, you have a money vigilant personality, you think a lot before spending money, and you're money vigilant, and you don't want to you know spend on extra. So definitely you can be part of some budget constraint family household items, whereas a money avoidant person can provide some of the risk associated with the investment. So that kind of personality will give you certain points about the risk in money making. So definitely you can come up with a balanced and a balanced risk kind of portfolio, where you know that this is the risk involved, but still you make a certain decision based on the percentage of risk involved. But you cannot totally avoid money, but definitely you can take certain points referred by the money avoidant, and money vigilant can definitely guide you to stop your expenses and be calculative in spending. So that kind of personality is money vigilant. So definitely you have to work on your personalities. Nowadays, one of the biggest source of conflict in a relationship is money, whether you're married, and as we have discussed. And serious stuff. Now we can, nowadays, first step is to know yourself. Next is how money is handled. Is money. Now, what are the series of steps which can take to better understand one another and the roles that you each can play when it comes to managing your finances together? What are the steps now? What are the action points? Now we have identified this is the money personality type. Now we have identified this, yeah, this is why we are making those decisions and behaviors. We have understood the why, the cause, the reason, and basically the money personality we have identified. So now we have to come up with what is the solution for that? What is the scope for improvement? How we can tackle that kind of personality and how we can move ahead in life to better understand one another and the roles that you can play. You have to identify and leverage your strength as a team and then get to the root of what's really important to you as a team and to improve your relationship and communication. First step is to manage your finances with a partner is to know yourself. Both should identify their money personalities, reflect on those behaviors, and discover each other. Second, share how money was handled in your household growing up, and then how that's influenced your current feelings about money, your current desires about how you can manage your money moving forward. So we cannot compare our life with a person who's always, come up with the money, that there is no concern for money in his or her life. So mostly we might compare our life with somebody who is having enough money, and then definitely he will not be thinking in a money vigilant kind of way, but he'll be thinking in the kind of money spender or a money status or a different kind of personality. He will definitely not be money avoidant, but then it will shape the feelings that the person has about money, and also his desires about money, what he feels about money. And definitely a person who has not seen enough money in his or her childhood definitely will feel a need to be vigilant and always be cautious about money making decisions, and they'll be sometimes more cautious than required. So the kind of personalities can be developed when we have faced certain challenges growing up in the family and in the surroundings. So we cannot compare our lives with anybody like that. You may be money vigilant and your partner is money avoidant, as we discussed. You both can navigate each of your money personalities and align your goals and values and make decisions accordingly. You have to understand and communicate and what possible personality is required for certain type of goal and values you as a family can decide. It is possible one may be interested in investing while the other in detail oriented tasks like in a household. Like, so we have to, the solution is you have to look at your partner who likes to see the big picture, focus on setting the goal and managing the investment portfolio. So whoever is in investing, he can manage the investment portfolios, and whoever is interested in detail oriented personality can go look into the managing the day to day budgeting and bills. So these kind of personalities we can take. Overcoming loss aversion. So does the now we have come to the idea of overcoming loss aversion. So what is overcoming loss aversion? We are discussing now some of the biases which we face in money's domain. Like, what is this? Does the idea of losing money on investment make you nervous? For most of us, we would rather give up some growth or even some upside to avoid the possibility of losing money. So we sometimes try to avoid money. We want to avoid the idea of making loss. So we don't want to invest in money at all. We make these kind of decisions. So these are some of the biases, unconscious bias, psychological bias we call loss of aversion. We want to totally avoid making losses. We don't want to invest at all. That will impact a financial decision, and what you can do to try to combat it. It means the pain of losing is psychologically more powerful than the pleasure of that you experience for an equally sized gain. For example, the positive feeling that come when making rupees 15 on rupees 200 investment is less and aren't as powerful as the negative feeling that come from losing that rupees 15 on a rupees 100 investment. This applies in every sphere of our life, whether it's a financial decision making, it can apply to other decisions like career choices, car purchases, and travel plans. So, this is some of the psychological bias, loss of aversion bias. The feeling you experience from losing money can feel stronger than the joy that you would experience from gaining the same amount. If an investment seems risky or has potential to lose money, you may be uncomfortable with the idea of owning it. Even if the investment has the potential to grow, at the same rate, you may avoid it. The fear of loss can ultimately prevent you from taking well calculated risks that have the potential for long term investment. So, this is one of the psychological bias, loss of aversion bias. Like, we are thinking that the situation will not provide us with the expected amount of in return, and you totally avoid making that calculated risk. So, even the experience of gaining money is not that important, or you're not focusing, or you're not feeling joyful in experience of gaining money. Instead, you're more fearful about losing that same amount of money. So that comes from the loss of aversion bias, where we are not looking into the investment or the increment or the return on investment value, but we are thinking on the part of how much we were going to lose if you make that investment decisions. You might have met these kind of people in your day-to-day lives, and you can compare yourself, like where you have seen these kind of personalities. Definitely it'll be a fun activity. The feeling you experience from losing money can feel stronger than the joy that you would experience from gaining the same amount. If an investment seems risky or has potential to lose money, you may be uncomfortable with the idea of owning it. Even if the investment has the potential to grow at the same rate, you may avoid it. And the fear of loss can ultimately prevent you from taking well calculated risks that have the potential to long term investment. Okay, so what is the solution for that? Sometimes we think like these kind of psychological bias are very difficult to overcome, and we try to avoid it, and we don't know what is the solution for that. But we can have a very simple solution for that. How we frame the words, how the question is framed, sometimes define our decisions, can impact your answer. If I told you that if you invested rupees 1000 today, it could grow, but you might lose it all and end up with nothing. Would you do it? Definitely, when a person will get scared that if you'll tell him that you'll have nothing. But if you try to reframe that question in a way that it focuses on a potential gain, but at the same time you need to be fair to each side of the equation for both the gains and losses, you can also put potential loss into perspective. Like you can say you can make a 90%, there's a possibility of 90% return on investment, the investment you are making today, but there's a 10% chance that you might want to lose it. So there is always a probability involved here. So you have to frame the question in that direction where the person understand, has a clear idea. You have to be transparent, you have to tell the pros and cons, and then the person can make the decision. If you try to reframe the financial decision in a way that it focuses on potential gain, but at the same time you need to be fair to each side of the equation. Whenever we see left hand side of the equation and right hand side of the equation, we have to balance it, and then only we will be telling the person about the pros and cons, and he must be aware while making an investment decision that it involves calculated amount of risk. But totally avoiding it and telling that yeah, you will end up losing all the money you have will definitely scare the individual, and definitely he will go into loss of aversion bias. You can also put potential loss into perspective and ask yourself what is the worst case scenario. Example, one of my friend, now there is another bias, hindsight bias. What is hindsight bias? One of my friends, she says that her husband was always talking about buying single stock, individual stock, mostly about Amazon, Google, Apple. He absolutely knew that they were going to grow and he could have made a lot of money. So she always used to encourage him to put 1,000 rupees so that he can grow it. But unfortunately, that 2,000 turned into 1,000 and he gave up because he was suffering from hindsight bias. Now, what is hindsight bias? So it's always easier when you look back and say, of course, things would have happened that way that they did, but it's a lot harder to see before it happens. You might think like this sometimes in your personal choices as well, that you look into the hindsight and you think, oh yeah, I should have not make that decision, or I should have taken that decision. Looking to hindsight, but it's a lot harder to say before the things have happened. You think that you know the things the way happen, but it's very difficult to judge it before it happened. So we always think that yeah, we knew how things would have turned out the way they did. Hindsight bias is a psychological phenomenon that can cause you to convince yourself that an event happens that you could and should have predicted it accurately before it happened. This can make you feel confident that you could predict other events in the future. It's basically your tendency to look backwards in an unpredictable way event and think it was easily predictable, whether it's related to personal event or professional. So we think we are overconfident. It sometimes influences your decision making. We feel overconfident. When the event happens, look for the alternatives that could have happened. Another method how we can provide solution is to avoid overconfidence and keep track of all your decisions about the investments you have made over time. Keep a journal so that you know that this is the scenario and these are the alternatives which were present, and based on that alternatives, it was okay that you made the decision and it happened. So then you would feel better about the decision that you made. When you have all the records, it's going to be much more difficult to tell yourself that you should have known all along. Let's say something unpredictable happens. So these are some of the biases: confirmation bias, which we'll look into the next chapter, confirmation bias, reference bias, and behavioral bias, which we face day to day in our lives and we are not aware of it. So I welcome you all to come and register in our website. Call us at 628-372-0458. You can also contact us via sales@cornerstoneadvinfo.com. Let us know, give us feedback, like, share, and subscribe, and comment on the video, and let us know how you liked it. You can also visit our website gocornerstoneadvisory.com, and we will be happy to help you. We provide full courses on personal finance and life coaching. So it was a good session. Thank you all.